Hey everybody, I'm Lynn O'Sullivan and this is qrsTV. Welcome to another episode, and today we're going to talk about heart rate. We're going to review a couple ways to do that. We're going to talk about sort of an average heart rate, and we're going to talk about instantaneous heart rate. So the first thing we need to remember is our paper speed. And so remember that that's at the bottom here, 25 millimeters per second. So if we could depict 25 millimeters on our grid paper here, we know that that represents 1 second. Well, it's not too difficult then to draw a ruler that is 6 seconds long, which is what I've done here. And if we were to count the number of heartbeats within that 6 seconds, the math becomes pretty easy. We multiply by 10, and that's our heart rate. And so here I've counted 9 heartbeats within that 6-second ruler. Heart rate's 90. Pretty easy way to quickly assess heart rate. But there's even quicker ways, to be honest. So what about doing an instantaneous heart rate? That is selecting any particular cycle and then counting the time between those 2 heartbeats. Well, we can break down the math to actually become pretty easy as well. So here I've got 2 heartbeats selected with the arrows, and I know that in between those 2 is 16 little boxes or 16 millimeters. Well, the math works out such that if the paper speed's 25, each millimeter is 0.04 seconds. I know there's 60 seconds in a minute. And so basically 1500 divided by the number of boxes between any 2 beats will give me my instantaneous heart rate. So here I've done the math, 1500 divided by 16 little boxes gives me a heart rate of 94. And this is the basis for one of the common rules that many of you may already know about, which is the so-called 300 rule. And so just to review that, again, if we're to pick a heartbeat, and specifically what we want to do here is pick a heartbeat that lines up with the darker red or broader grid lines. And so I've selected one of those with my arrowhead. If my next heartbeat were to occur on the next dark red line over, the heart rate is 300. That's again, just that 1500 divided by number of boxes math. Well, if I extend that ruler further, then we can make a ruler for what the heart rate would be if the next heartbeat were to intersect each subsequent red line. So here I've drawn that out. So we can see that the ruler goes 300, 150, 100, 75, 60, 50, and 43 if we were to extend that ruler out and think about where our next heartbeat intersects that ruler. Well, we can see in our case here, our next heartbeat over from that very first arrow intersects the ruler just after the 100, somewhere about 3/4 of the way between 75 and 100. So I can estimate my heart rate is about 95, which is pretty darn close to what I got on my last method, dividing 1500 by the number of boxes. So maybe more of an estimate, maybe not as exact, but perfectly usable, easy to do. Hopefully you can remember these rules, and next time we'll talk more about the approach to the ECG for rhythm diagnosis. Thanks.